Hello everyone, it's Mr. Trochet with another video lesson. Let's get started. Let me go and move this stuff around. I think this is a little too big there, or yeah, that's fine. Classic. Oh, I can do fireworks. What? Each click is a firework. That's pretty cool. All right, what's this? Oh, focus. Oh, I might like that, but clicks, no. We'll do classic. All right, enough about that. Let's get started with 7.2.1. What is the missing number? And you're going to have to find that a lot in math. So we're finding the missing information in proportional relationships, meaning that they are equal to each other. So all these ideas are just finding missing quantities. All right. So we know that 3 pounds is $7.50. Well, how much? How many pounds is $10? Right. So we're going to go ahead and clear this up real quick. So in chapter 4, Casey was trying to figure out how many pounds Havarti cheese she could buy for $10, knowing that 3 pounds costs $7.50. So she wrote this ratio down here. What are some ways that we can do this? All right, so some of the things that we can do this, let me find my mouse, there it is. Let me clear this section. All right, so some ways that we can do this is, I can't scroll down. Why can't I scroll down? There we go. Okay, just still getting used to the new thing. All right, so one way we can do this is by cross multiplying. So we have 3 times 10 here, and then this one would be the equal as 7.5x. And then that's going to be 30 equals 7.5x divided by 7.5. And then do a little bit of long division. Move the decimal. So 75 goes into 300. I think that's 4 times. So that's 20, 28, 20, 30. Yep. And so 4. So 4 pounds, because that's what that means. 4 is the x. 4 pounds of Havarti cheese. So 1 is cross multiplying. All right, cross multiplying, and that's one way you can do that. There's other ways you can do this too. That's probably the number one thing that you can do. Give me 1 second as I clear this up. Okay, so cross multiplying, let me go ahead and rewrite this, is cross multiply. Another one is you can figure out how they got from 750 to 10, and you can use like a multiplier effect. And then you can try that. You can reduce this down to a unit rate. So for example, if I wanted to flip this, for example, well, let me just go ahead and say this. So 1 pound, and then you can divide this by 3 and this by 3, so you can find the unit rate. So 1 pound of Havarti cheese is equal to this many. So you would just do, so 750 divided by 3, and that's 2, 1, 5. That's 5, and then that's a 0, because then that's 0.15. So 250 per pound. So then you know it's 250 per pound. That's a unit rate. So you could find the unit rate, and then you can do that as a multiplier. So 250 per pound, and that's your unit rate, and then you can multiply by that 4, and then that's what gives you 4 pounds. There's many different ways, but anyways, just some ideas. All right, moving on to the next one. Don't know this person's name or how to pronounce it, but I'm going to say Graham knows that he earns $4.23 every half hour. You want to know how much money he would earn after 1 full week of work, which is 40 hours. He wrote the equivalent ratios below and quickly sees a way to find his answer. I'm sorry, I can't read right now, but I'm full of energy. I'm ready to go. So write this down in your notebook. All right, pause it if you need to. What do you think Raymond is thinking of doing? What do you think he's thinking about doing? Go ahead and pause the video and let me know what you think. All right. One thing that I would say is that I would do this, is that I think I think he will multiply the fraction by 80. Why am I saying 80? Well, how am I going to get from, let me use green, how am I going to get from half hour to 40 hours? Well, I have a half. So what times a half gives me 40? So 0.5 times 80 gets me 40. And so you got to think of the multiplier. That's one of the strategies I did. So that means I would multiply the top by 80 as well. So then I would do $4.23 times 80. That's one way I would do it. The other way I was thinking about doing, which I think is a little bit easier maybe to see, is to multiply this by 2. So then I have 846 for 1 hour. And that gives me X is 40 hours. And then, let me use a purple. And then you can times by 40. And then you can times by 40. So same thing as times in by 80, but now it's a little bit more clear that we multiplied by 2, and then we got to this next one. So solve the equation. So that is going to be 1 is 40. So we just got to multiply by 40. So 8.46 times 40, zeros all the way across. 24, 16, 18, 8, 8, 16, 24, 32, 33. That's my answer. And 1, 2, 1, 2. Is it 3? No, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense at all. Give me 1 second. Let me pause real quick. What is happening here? No, that does make sense. But yeah, I times about 846 times 40. 846, that's all zeros. Yeah. Okay. So that's going to be 338.4 dollars per week, which is 40 hours. All right. Graham wants to know how long it will take him to make $1,000. Write and solve an equation to help him figure this out. Okay. So $1,000. So we know that it was $338.40 for 1 week, but now we want to earn $1,000. So here's my fraction. Here I got to do this in 40 hours. All right. And we want to know how long it will take. So 40 hours also is 1 week, just so we know. How many hours will it take to get $1,000? And you notice that I am putting my dollars on top and my time on the bottom. Make sure they're still the same for both sides of your equation. And then you can just solve it by that. So that would be the best thing. You can do cross multiplication. You can do 40 hours times that, and then this times that. So you get 338.4x equals, that looks like 40,000 hours. Is that, no, that makes sense technically. All right. So that would be 40,000 hours. Okay. I think that should work out. I'm just going to use my calculator real quick and maybe just get through this one. So 40,000 divided by 338.4, and that is going to equal, again, I don't try to make these numbers big on the test. X will equal 118.20. And this is hours because we didn't use the weeks. We used hours. So this is hours. 118.2 hours to make $1,000. Okay. All right. I hope that's clear. Let's move on to the next section. And here we go. So Shiloh knows that it takes 5 cups of flour to make 2 recipes of cookies. He has 13 cups of flour left in his cupboard. He wants to know how many recipes he can make. He wrote the equivalent ratios below. So the ratios you have, make sure you can find out what missing piece of information you need to look for or use or whatnot. So 5 cups to 2. So again, it's 5 to 2. So 5 cups to every 2 recipes. all right? And that's based on our fraction here, all right? 5 cups to every 2 recipes. We have 13 cups of flour left. So we put the flour on top because the flour is also on top here. 5 cups, 13 cups at the bottom. What we can do is create this equivalent ratio and write that down. However, this equation looks difficult to solve, so he decided to ask his friend Carolyn for help. Carolyn said 5 cups makes 2 recipes. Then it takes 2.5 cups for each recipe. So this is our unit rate that they're using here. They're using a unit rate, 2.5 for 1 recipe instead of 5 for 2. This is the multiplier. This is the unit rate. This is the scale factor or whatever you want to call it. Can't you just use the multiplier to write an equation? Yes, we've done this before, especially with our percentages. So our multiplier is what we want to use. So Carolyn wrote this equation. F stands for the cups of flour, flour for F, and R stands for the number of recipes. As Carolyn wrote the equation below, she said, then I would solve this equation to find the number of recipes. So 2.5 R equals 13. So what is this 2.5? We kind of got to dissect this. What does this 13 stand for? Well, this is the 13 cups of flour. And that's our total, right? That's our total from up here, from right here. Okay, so we put that on the end. Then we have R, and R stands for recipes. We don't know what R is. X is recipes, but instead we said R is recipes, right? So now we're instead of X, it's being R, and the 2.5 cups is here, and this 2.5 cups is basically this as a unit rate. And you're like, wait, it's 2.5, but that says 5/2. Well, what is 5 divided by 2? Well, it's 2 with 1, 0, bring up the decimal, 5. So they use this 2.5 right here. So every single part of this problem is in this equation right here. And it's going to take a little bit of practice to get used to this, but yeah. Compare Shiloh's and Carolyn's equations. Are they correct? Yes. They both are correct. Because this right here is the same thing as this, but this one is an extra step. This one is a shortcut. So if you want to know the shortcut, you have to do more practice on it. But yes, you can write it out as an extra step, and then you can cross multiply all that stuff. Does your solution work with both? Which equation is easiest to solve? Well, it depends, honestly. If you want to solve it using this way, you can. So then it would just be 5x because you cross multiply there. And then you'd have 2 and 13, which is going to be 26, and you divide by 5. Okay, you can do that. Or you can do it this way. You can have 13 equals 2.5. I'm going to change that as a fraction. And I can say R. So 2.5, and you divide by 2.5, divided by 2.5. And then that's just the same thing. 26 divided by 5 is the same thing as 13 divided by 2.5. I mean, it's the exact same thing. So whatever way you want to do it is fine. So 13 divided by 2.5, that is going to equal 2.5, 5, 10, 5.5. I'm just going to use my calculator. I think it's 5.2. Might be. 13 divided by 2.5, 5.2. Yep. So 13 divided by, well, I'm not going to do it now, but it's 5.2. All right. Does your solution work in both Shiloh's and Karen's equations? The answer quickly is yes. And if you don't know, I want you to try it. So I would do 26 divided by 5 and see what that gets you. And then I would do 13 divided by 2.5 and see what that gets you. These should equal the same answer. All right. Let's go on to the next one. Oh, we're almost done. 7-99, find the missing information in each set using any method. Be sure that you record your process. All right, cool. Let's do this. So we'll do one. So we have the cross multiply. Cross 2, we have the unit rate multiplier. And then we have an equation too. I think we can use an equation as well. But yeah, let's try some different ways. So here, how do I get from 15 to 5? Well, I divide by 3. So how do I get from 2 to x? Well, I can divide by 3. If you divide by 3 each way, then you'll get that. So so the multiplier would be times 1/3 in this situation, but divide by 3. It's just easier for me to say divide by 3, but the multiplier is times 1/3, right? Because it is 1/3 of the size. So it would be 2 times 1/3, which would be 2/3, which is 2 divided by 3. Same thing. All right, so 2 divided by 3, that should be it. For B, we go from 100 to 8. I'm going to use a different color. We go from 100 to 8 and x to 7. Interesting. Well, let's do this. Let's use our cross multiplication. Let's do it with blue. So I'm going to go and cross multiply 8 and x. So that's 8x. And then 100 times 7, which is 700. So 8x and 7 and 100 divided by 8. So x equals 8 into 70. It's 8 times, which is 64. And then 6. And then so that's going to be 6, and then 0. And that's going to be 7, which is 56, which is a 4. And then that's 0.5, I believe. So that's going to be 87.5 is for x there. All right, then we got another one. Another one. DJ Khaled. All right, another one here. We have 0.2 and 1x. So the 2 goes to x. We don't know how that goes, but 0.2 to the 1. 0.2 to the 1. So how are we going to do this? Well, let's do this. Let's make it a unit rate multiplier. So we're going to use the unit. So let's go ahead and reduce this down by 2, just for example. So we know 0.1 divided by 1 equals 1 over x. And I'm going to go ahead and try this out. So let's do, well, we already know the multiplier. Actually, we don't even need to do that. I apologize. Let me just go ahead and do the short way. We're going to go ahead and multiply this by 5. That means this gets multiplied by 5. So that is going to be, for example, I'm using a multiplier effect going across. I was going to do the equation, but that's not fun. So that means that's going to be 2 times 5 is 10. So 0.2 is equal to 2. I mean, 0.2 and 2 is the same as 1/10. Because basically this would be 0.1 over 1. And if you times that by 10 over 10, that would be 1 and 10. So yeah, that is going to be the answer. So x equals 10. Sorry if I'm going a little fast. Didn't mean to. Just go ahead and rewind this a little bit. But we have one more to go, and then we're done. Last one. This one is y and 4 and 11.2 to 7. This one is pretty tough. So I would just simply recommend cross multiplying. So I'm going to do 7 to y. So 7y equals, and then 11.2 to 4, which is going to be 0.8, and 4 times 1 is 44. And we just divide by 7 and get our answer. 7, 6 times, that's 42, with 2 left over and 8, and that's going to be my decimal, so that's 0.4. So y is going to equal 6.4. And you're probably wondering, Mr. O'Shea, how are you doing that in your head? Well, just real quick, I have 44. I've done this a long time, so I think about this in my head. I put this in, and I divide it by 7. 7 into 44 goes in 6 times, so then I write my 6. And then I have, that equals 42, so then 42. I have 2 left over. That's why I wrote the 2. Bring down the 8. I know it's 28. 28 times 4 is 4. I mean, 7 times 4 is 28, so 6.4. All right, gonna end this real quick. I gotta get going, make some more videos and stuff like that too. But anyways, I hope this was helpful. Good luck on your homework. If you have any questions, let me know. And I will see you all soon. Have a great day, everyone.